Hello everyone, I'm Megan Sullivan and welcome to my review of The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, developed by Grezzo, and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. If you like this review, please give it a like and this channel a follow. I would really appreciate it. Thank you. So, we finally have a Nintendo-made The Legend of Zelda game starring Zelda! Yay! And I have to say, I really enjoyed this cute, clever, and delightful 24-hour romp through Chibi Hyrule. It's not as deep or mechanically inclined as Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, but honestly, it's the most fun I've had in a Zelda game in years. But if you've been on the fence about getting this game, or have your doubts about it, let me tell you why I think it's worth your time. First of all, it's just so dang cute. Echoes of Wisdom is aimed at a younger audience, and you can tell by the art design, which is based on the remake of Link's Awakening and looks like a toy set. Now apparently some people don't really like this look, but personally I love the doll-like character designs, the vibrant environments, and the shiny plastic sheen that covers everything. Even the monsters are adorable. Heck, even the music is adorable, with whimsical remixes of beloved tunes like Zelda's Lullaby and of course the series' main theme. The story is also elementary, but that's okay because it had me pretty hooked. Interestingly, it starts with the traditional ending of every Zelda game. You know, the part where Link uses the Master Sword to defeat the final boss and rescue Zelda. But as it turns out, the final boss isn't the final boss, and instead of saving Zelda, Link ends up being sucked into a mysterious dark rift and becomes the one in need of saving, along with half of Hyrule, which also gets trapped in a series of strange tears in the space-time continuum. It's a delightful submersion of the series' Save the Princess trope, and I like how throughout the game Link can only assist Zelda from a distance, much the same way the princess used to help Link. Of course, in order to advance the story, Zelda has to enter the rifts and then close these dangerous voids behind her. But how is she supposed to do that? Well, luckily she has the support of an adorable little blob named Tri, who's part of a magical fairy race with the power to create entries and exits into rifts, and more importantly, close rifts permanently. Unfortunately, only Tri appears in Hyrule because, ironically, the rest of the Tri-Fairies are stuck in rifts, and the only way to get them out is to defeat the monsters wandering these weird liminal spaces. Since Zelda has no weapon, Tri gives Zelda the Tri-Rod, which can use echo magic to duplicate any object it comes into contact with, and this is where the fun begins. Because rather than relying on the usual sword, bow, and bomb combination of the more traditional Zelda games, although we'll get to those in a minute, Zelda must use echoes, i.e. duplicated objects, to solve puzzles and defeat enemies. These echoes can be stacked, thrown, or placed just about anywhere, which means puzzles have multiple solutions. This mechanic feels like a more forgiving, streamlined version of what you can do in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But unlike in those games, you don't have to build things in Echoes of Wisdom, you just have to find them, which is a relief for somebody like me who sometimes felt like they needed an engineering degree to get past some of the dungeons in Tears of the Kingdom. Here you're only limited by your imagination and the number of items you can duplicate, a number I'm happy to say increases every time you complete a major dungeon. There are tons of echoes to learn, although I found myself relying on a handful of favorites over and over again because they were consistently reliable. These objects include beds, boxes, a yellow platform, water blocks, a knight in shining armor, and even a literal murder of crows. And although I was frustrated by occasional finicky controls that fooled me into thinking I couldn't use one of these objects because it wasn't set up quite right, most of the time these echoes came through. Although it was a lot of fun trying out different oddball combinations of things to see if I could make traversing the world just a little easier. In short, the echo mechanic feels accessible and fun, and I never got bored of it. Having said that, Zelda does eventually gain the ability to temporarily transform into a kind of Link clone and use upgradable sword, bow, and bomb abilities in combat. This is definitely an easier way to defeat tough enemies, but I appreciate that these skills are tied to an energy meter, which means you can't abuse your Link-like powers and have to rely more on strategically placing echoes rather than just pummeling your way through a line of enemies. This approach makes sense because Zelda, after all, is the keeper of the Triforce of Wisdom, and so strategy should be the focus of her powers. Now, sometimes that strategy involves simply busting out your hardest hitting Echo, but other times you can create a bet bridge to avoid enemies altogether, or make yourself immune to elemental attacks by drinking a delicious smoothie using ingredients found around Hyrule. You can even collect stylish outfits that let you talk to cats or spin around faster. Okay, I don't know how these really help in battle, but they make exploration more enjoyable, which is already fun thanks to bite-sized dungeons, a large map sprinkled with plenty of warp points, and interesting nooks and crannies to poke around in by using your echoes to reach them. There's plenty of things to see in Hyrule and plenty of echoes to help you see them. Maybe too many? And this is where a tiny bit of negativity appears in my review. You see, the inventory system of Echoes of Wisdom isn't great. There are so many items to shuffle through, but no real efficient way to access them. I mean, you can sort your items by most used or last used, etc., but there's no hotkey option to make accessing your favorite echoes easier, even though you have a hotkey feature while you're in your Swordmaster form. It's a really odd oversight. Another thing I thought was odd are the automatons, little mechanical monster creatures you can summon in your clone Link form. I'll be honest, I came across automatons late in the game, and I didn't really understand the point of these. I built one, it felt superfluous, and I never really used it. It's not a bad feature per se, it just doesn't feel like it's well incorporated into the gameplay, especially since the whole Automaton side quest series is really easy to miss. Something else that left me scratching my head was the occasionally obtuse puzzle. Not because the solution was hard, but because the solution was not really intuitive. For example, in one dungeon room, I had to open a door by duplicating moving statues that would simultaneously step on two triggers. But because the room already had statues in it, I kept thinking I just needed to drag and drop those statues onto the buttons. The right solution kind of threw me for a loop. And my final, very gentle criticism is that there is occasional frame rate stutter. It's not a big deal, and honestly, I didn't really care. I've definitely seen worse, but I just wanted to let you know that yes, I noticed it. So with that said, while Echoes of Wisdom isn't perfect, it's the most I've enjoyed a Zelda game since A Link Between Worlds. It's a warm and fuzzy puzzle adventure that leans into innovation and fun while also leaning into nostalgia, and I would recommend it to anyone who needs a boost of happiness. Have you played Echoes of Wisdom? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you later.